Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, September 24th, 2025. We get together most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central, talk about strategies, tips, share techniques, and success stories. Today is probably going to be, well, it is a very important topic, but it could be one that you're not going to like. Because sometimes, as business partners, business associates, in some cases, we don't want to hear the truth. But we're going to have a very objective conversation today, and it's okay if emotionally it doesn't feel good, but it's something that we need to discuss. So let's go ahead and go through it. My screen is shared. You got the normal 509 logo. If you need funding, you can go to our simple landing page, guaranteedfunding.org. Our website, of course, is 509pacific.org. Our text support line, 903-347-8042. Put our recordings up on YouTube. Need to schedule a call, schedule a call. Our background, of course, hasn't changed. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We received a grant. We have 3 mandates. We focus on improving financial literacy, providing free shelf corps, and then using that knowledge and those shelf corps to get funding for people. So that those are kind of the basics, the foundational topics, and we've gone into all of that in a lot more detail. You can spend time on YouTube if you want to. But we really need to spend time on today's agenda, and it's not just a fill-in topic. It's important. So let's go ahead and get started. So as you're on this training or listening to the recording afterwards, you're probably at least one of 3 categories. You're either a business owner of your own unrelated business, or a business owner of one of our shelf corps, or a distribution partner. So I guess you could be none of those, and maybe you're just interested in one of those and you're here to consider it, but this is great preparatory content anyway. So we're going to call you a CEO of a business. Now, some of you don't think that way. Some of you don't act that way. You might have a sole proprietorship, or it might be a formed entity. It might be doing well. It might not be doing well. You might have employees. You might not have employees. But regardless, the first concept here is you need to understand that if you're running a business, you are the CEO. You are accountable. You are responsible. So, with that being said, if you own a business, then you're running it, and you're responsible for the P&L, the profit and loss, the money that it makes. We're not going to find time or find excuses to explain that, oh no, it's not my fault. If my business isn't doing well, it's not my fault. It's someone else's fault. No, you're the CEO. You're setting the strategy. You're making the decisions. Okay. So with that, if you are one of those groups where you're either a reseller, branch office, or a client using one of our shelf corporations, which kind of comes with a business in a box, you're in a pretty damn good position, because there's some really smart people, which I'm not one of those, but there's some really smart people that have put the model together. So you should have in your possession a business plan that states what you do and how you make money. You should have a set of financial projections that show the types of income that we should make from that model. So again, you may own a business unrelated to our shelf corps, our distribution partnerships, which is fine. But if you are using our shelf corp or our model, you should have documentation that you should be familiar with. So, for example, if you're a distribution partner and you refer in a client, then normally in about 7 days, we provide them a shelf corp. And that shelf corp is meant to go make money, because businesses need to make money. I just hear bullshit way too often. Well, no, my business doesn't make money. It's not important. That's crazy talk, crazy talk. So, with that being said, you are responsible for making sure that your business is generating adequate revenue. And if you're not making adequate revenue, your business will probably fail and your business will probably shut down. So we can't just think of, oh, a business is a great way to go borrow a bunch of money. Well, it sure is. Businesses can borrow tremendously more capital than individuals can. That's true and that's factual, and we can facilitate that. But we can't fall through number three. Sorry about that. But we can't fall into this mindset. Well, I don't really want to run my business. Now, when we provide a shelf corp, it's a template. And if the client says, no, 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 I don't want to do what that shelf corp is set up to do, we can change it. We can set it up to be a doctor's office, a lawyer's office, anything they want to do. It's changeable, it's fine, it's editable. There's no one saying, oh, you've got to stick to the original business plan. Although, frankly, that business plan is set up and ready to go. So it's so important that we feel accountable. I mean, I do when I get up in the morning, and I hope you do too. I'm reflecting first off of how did things go yesterday? Was my business profitable yesterday? And based upon how yesterday went, what do I need to do today? So, and this is still true even if you're just part-time. You might say, well, no, I work a full-time job and I only own a business part-time. This is still true. If you own a business anytime, part-time or full-time, these principles are true and crucial. So if your business is failing, which we're going to define that as not having adequate revenue, we need to make some changes. It's adolescent, it's illiterate, it's mistaken to think, doesn't really matter. It does matter. And so if your business is failing, we're going to need to make some changes. Now, you control what changes are made because it's your business. That's the difference of owning your business versus being an employee. But it starts with either doing something different and or getting some different people on the team. And so some of you I've talked to you about, and some of you have agreed to step down. Some of you have decided you are not the right person to run the business. And it's okay to own a business and not be the CEO. We need someone operating as the CEO. They're running the strategy, they're overall responsible. If you don't want to do that, you can be the owner. We can put someone else in that role. But also, I need you to start considering the role of the CSO, the Chief Sales Officer. This is one of the hottest terms in the business industry right now because this role, the CSO, the Chief Sales Officer, is the one that is the person, the man or the woman that's focused on bringing in that revenue. As a CEO, you have lots of other responsibilities. The CSO is laser focused on bringing money in. So let's talk about understanding the CSO role. So stated here, CSOs, Chief Sales Officers, are at the top of the sales leadership. Now, when I say this, some of you are going to say, well, no, this doesn't apply to me. I'm a one-man show. I'm a one-person show. I don't have anyone to lead. It's still applicable. You can't have a business without revenue coming in. It's not a real functioning business. So even if you're a one-person show, the CSO role is still important because someone's got to create these strategies. How are we going to make money? Are we going to build a sales team, internal, external? And someone's got to be managing results. And of course, the easiest result to measure is look at your damn bank statement. Log on to your bank account each day and look at what your bank balance is in your business and how much money came in. I mean, that's very simplistic. But if we're not focused on making money, we shouldn't be running a business because a business will cease to exist if you don't run the business. Now, for early stage businesses, like many of us are, I understand that you may be wearing both hats. You may be the CEO, responsible for the overall operation of the business. And secondly, you may also be the CSO. But someone needs to serve this role. And I'm going to describe what that role does in a moment. But we can't continue, for those of you that are, we can't continue to ignore the importance of a business making money. And to make money, it just doesn't happen. We don't just hope for it to happen. We need a strategy, we need implementation of that strategy, and then we need to be measuring results. So, what are some key responsibilities of CSOs? Well, we talked about they need to have a strategy because, again, we've got to figure out who are our target clients. Who is it that has a problem that we're going to solve? How do we solve their problems differently or better than our competition? Because I'll tell you right now, if you're coming to us or your clients are coming to us and they're wanting to go raise a lot of money, 100,000, million, multi-million dollars, those lenders are going to ask some questions like, who's running your sales organization? Is it you, Carla? Is it you, Brian? Is it you, Claude? Is it you, Corinthian? Or do you have someone else doing that? Who are your competitors? Edward, Eric, Farah, Jeff? Who in the hell is competing against you for customers? And if we respond with some awkward silence of, I don't know, or worse yet, oh, I don't have any competition, that's a bullshit answer. They're not going to have any confidence. No matter how strong the business plan is, no matter how strong the financial projections are, we can't ignore the fact that there's someone, normally you, running that damn business, and we're either running it and we have revenue, we have a strategy, we have implementation, or we don't. Now, if we start out small, well, we all start out small, but when we're early stage, there may not be a team, but we've had multiple trainings that are up on the YouTube channel about how to develop a sales team. You don't have to be a one-man show. So we've talked about how we can develop commission-only salespeople. We've talked about where to find them. We've talked about some AI strategies. There's lots of resources that I encourage you to go back and reflect on, because if it's all resting on you, that's going to be very difficult. And of course, then we need to monitor performance. So in terms of performance, there are some key performance indicators. So with key performance indicators, the first indicator is sales revenue. With sales revenue, perhaps the biggest indicator of sales success is sales revenue. It's the total amount of revenue generated through sales in a specific period of time. So not only do we need to maximize this, we need to recognize that there's certain factors that impact this. So we need to be focused on sales revenue. No money means the business is not going to succeed. It's going to fail. Sales growth rate. How is the business growing? How are we doing this month over prior month? If we've been around, how are we doing this year over prior year? So not only do we need to be making sales, hopefully our business is growing and getting bigger. That's what lenders really like to see. They love to fund businesses that are expanding, that are growing, that needs more capital to reach their potential. Now, can businesses that are pre-revenue get funded? They certainly can, but that's going to put a lot more stress on the credibility of the underlying documentation. But yes, we can certainly get pre-revenue businesses funded, but is it preferable to show a proof of concept? Absolutely. We also want to look at the overall lifetime value of a client. So for those of you in our model, we start with the client getting a shelf corp, and you're able to mark that up however you want. And so with that, you're making some money up front. But is that the total value of that client? No, probably not. Also, we're going to take the client through the process and get them funding. Well, you should be making 5% of the client's capital raise. So that makes that client even more valuable. Many of our clients refer in other clients, and so indirectly they have more value because they're contributing to your sales growth. But what is a customer worth to your business? And then lastly, what does it cost to acquire a customer, that called the CAC, customer acquisition cost? It is not realistic to think, oh, I'm just going to go make a lot of money and it's going to grow and each customer is going to be worth so much, but I'm not going to have any expenditure to generate the client. We're going to have an acquisition cost for a customer. whether it be paid ads or paying salespeople, whatever it is that you're doing. There's going to be a cost for generating clients. So if all we're really wanting to do is take the shelf corp and just really leverage it to get funding, which is where some of you are, we need to be prepared, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, that lenders are going to ask questions like, well, who's running your sales efforts, and that competitive analysis that I referenced. Now, if you look at current statistics, the average CSO has a base pay of about 180,000, and then of course they can make a lot more based upon benefits and incentives. So wrapping up today's Zoom, what should you do with this information? Well, I need you to step back and not emotionally, but logically, objectively determine, do you have someone that's running your sales department? Do you have someone as a CSO? If not, we need to fill that, and it could be with you or someone else. If we don't have someone running sales, it's irresponsible. We've got to find a solution. The business is not going to succeed, it's going to fail, and it's not going to be fundable if there's no demonstration. The good thing is you can outsource the CSO role. And I've talked to several of you who have offered to fill in this capacity for others. So you take Mr. Harris, who's on the call, IT, Kenny. There's a number of you that have raised your hand and said that you would be more than willing to go in and run the sales departments of other people's businesses if they need. If you need that help, again, text us on our tech support line. So with that, we're going to wrap it up early. Hopefully this was helpful. We will see you back tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.